the tagline go?
Terrible.
For vengeance, for justice, for love. This is terrible. Welcome to Happy Suffer.
Sounds like dumbass Batman.
I have some bad news for you guys.
They're making another Crow movie.
Oh,
No.
I mean, that is happening, but
Well,
Not just a remake,
well, yeah.
another one.
yeah,
I still liked this movie.
rude.
That's awful. that is upsetting to hear.
Do you want to know what is even more upsetting? 23 years later.
That's still your favorite?
23 fucking years. How? How has this happened?
I don't know. This is one of the movies that should have been lost to time and just abandoned by everybody.
Listen,
It basically has, because we had to watch it on some
Weird
weird
like
Russian
Hungarian
website.
site.
This is episode 255 of Happy Suffer. I am Old Woman.
Oh.
I killed myself.
Same.
Yeah, nobody has a good name at all.
They
I'll
really
be-
don't.
I'll be
Alex
boyfriend.
Corvus.
I'll be boyfriend. Boyfriend of who? No idea.
They
But
do.
I'm here.
They do a fucking lot in these movies to make the Crow characters have the most absurd, unreal names.
Yeah, well, and especially because this came out in 2000, right? And so everybody else has normal names. Aaron, Lauren, Nathan, Peter, and then Alex
Scooter.
Corvus. They're
Well,
like, he
Garth.
needs to still be edgy sounding.
The problem with this fucking movie, besides that it's almost unwatchable, is like
Okay.
it's like it doesn't have a bunch of like criminals, I guess, like the normal sort of like gangster criminals the other movies have, where they have cool names like Fun Boy.
Yeah.
It's all just cops, so everybody's named Peter and Steven and Chris and fucking
Mustache
shit like that.
1, Mustache 2.
Tommy, Vincent,
Someone's name
Phillip,
is
Stan,
just
Martin.
Madden.
Yeah,
The captain, Fred Ward.
the only
An
good part of this
icon.
movie, and he's not doing enough
Look,
in it.
I'm going to be honest. There's
Walton
only
Goggins.
2 things I want to talk about
That's
in this
right, yeah,
movie.
Walter Goggins.
Yeah.
And those 2 things are Walton Goggins
Yeah.
and that absolutely fucking insane cover/remix/sampling of Heart of Glass.
I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah. So it's like one of the times, it might have been the very first time the guy's like walking into like the strip club or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will say the music in this movie is all over the fucking place. I didn't know if I was coming or going, to be fair on that end. But when that scene was playing, I was like, I felt I couldn't figure out like what was going on with the song, because it sounded like just enough like it, and I was like, is it? Is it not? Then there's also rapping happening over top of it, and I was like, what is this?
Just like, it starts off with just like a dude rapping and it like sounds kind of familiar. And
Yeah.
then it comes in and it's the chorus of Heart of Glass, but it's like slowed down and it sounds like you're listening to it while you're fucking on a shitload of codeine.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is happening here?
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the soundtrack.
This is what they get.
It's bad.
For firing Rob Zombie, who was in charge of the soundtrack until they had creative differences and
Well,
fired him.
they managed to slip in Living Dead Girl, so
Yeah, somehow that was
But,
still in
like,
there.
An awful, like, weird remix version of it. It's like everything in this soundtrack is like, what
probably-
if we just made it bad? Or played it, like, half speed?
Well, this is like they hit the point where like we kind of talked about it with like Gary a little bit in the last episode, where like like once like nu metal got really popular and you got into all of those fucking like sort of post nu metal bands like Days of the New on here and shit, like Kid Rock's
Bad.
on here, Pitch. It's
Yeah,
all like the
Kid
shit
Rock.
that like
There's a Kid Rock song?
where'd it go?
Warm
Was he
winter.
doing Heart of Glass? Was he rapping over Heart of Glass?
I don't know.
It's called Warm Winter.
Have to go back and listen to Hole covering It's All Now. It's all over
Well-
now, Baby Blue by Bob Dylan. Because
And so, like, here's
I thought
the-
that was a Danzig song.
yeah,
Yeah.
But again,
yeah.
it just sounded so bad.
It's-
What the fuck?
It's because it's fucking Danzig from Danzig 6 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like,
His voice blown out like
it was like
2 albums prior.
Yeah, like when that album came out, I remember being like way into it, and then like going back and listening to it like a couple years ago. I'm like, wow, this is fucking terrible.
I'm also confused by, like, there's a song on here that's a radio edit for some reason. Why? Then there's, like, a Stabbing Westward song, but it's a remix.
Okay, so
Living Dead Girl, Naked Exorcism mix. Like, who?
the Heart of Glass one. The reason it sounds like that is it's a tricky song, so it's like a trip hop like
Yeah.
version of it. So that makes sense. I actually kind of want to hear that now because I could.
I was
get down with some
confused
turkey.
by it.
But
I mean, it's awful, but
yeah, this soundtrack,
Like-
like every aspect of this movie, somehow was even more of a step down from City of Angels.
it's impressive, to be honest.
I don't
they-
agree.
They wasted Walton Goggins, William Atherton, and Fred Ward in one film.
I will say,
Listen,
they do.
Walton
they
Goggins should have been the Crow. I don't know what they
Yes,
were thinking.
Absolutely,
do, or
yes.
or like the main bad guy, one of the two.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like him and Fred Ward, totally fine. I enjoy them as like bad guys, but like Walter Goggins doesn't get enough to do, and Fred Ward is just like, I don't know, not necessarily doing enough. As like he doesn't have like Judah as a fucking bad guy of just like anything
He's-
really
He's not given a whole lot to work with.
yeah cool going on. It's just like I don't know, fucking Alex Corvus, the Corvus apparently being Latin for crow.
Duh.
So
He's cool, okay?
I guess I don't know if we've said it yet. We're talking about the Crow Salvation from 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did we mention that?
Yeah.
We
I
don't need to.
assume-
No
I
one needs to
assume
know.
so. I feel like I had this on VHS and I watched it a lot, but I haven't watched it in like who even knows how long. I was in 8th grade when this movie came out, actually, and I don't. I feel like I haven't seen it in a really long time. Probably, I don't know, since whenever I didn't have access to that VHS anymore, which has been a long time, like a really long time. But I didn't really remember a lot of like the finer points of the movie, except for obviously I remembered the face being fucked up thing, which I guess is only from this movie. So I don't know why I thought it was like across all of the movies, because there's like a reason for his face to be fucked up, I guess. And so for some reason, a lot of the things I remember about the Crow being true are from this movie. Like he actually, for whatever reason, he can turn into a crow and fly around, which for leaning into like a supernatural side of these movies makes total sense. And they all should have been able to do that. And they didn't, instead of parkouring around. But
I do not remember him turning into a crow in this movie.
They don't actually explicitly show it,
okay.
but they there's a scene where he like leaps off of a building the way that in the first one he did, and then the crow like goes Pah! And then the crow just like shows up places, and then Alex shows up. So like they're insinuating that he can turn into a crow, which I think is cool. And at least in this one, he didn't have to wait a year. He like almost immediately woke back up after being murdered.
mean, like, I think that's my assumption of like City of Angels was the same way, because like there's no way that dude was just like floating around in the water in the same space for a year. Like I think that happens sort of immediately too, but they just do a bad job showing it. Like I feel like if I saw this movie when I was like 11 or 12, like I would have probably been way into it, but watching it now for the first time, it's bad.
I get it. I'm not expecting anyone to like it. Even though I didn't really remember anything about it, I still liked it. I found it personally way more watchable and enjoyable than City of Angels, which I found extremely boring.
Well, I at least like I appreciate that they changed the story up.
Yeah. And I feel like compared to, like, listen, it's not cool that those guys killed his kid and then killed him for witnessing something, right? Like, that's not cool. But to me, do I feel like that invokes the power of being resurrected to get revenge? Like, no. But in Crow Salvation, I feel like this story is, like, pretty fucked up. I feel like, yeah, go ahead, come back. Kill some cops.
Look,
Kill a lot of cops.
I think every Crow movie should have been him coming back to kill a bunch of cops.
I mean,
I'm on board with that premise.
I think, I will say, I feel like they at least, like, is this objectively a great movie? Obviously not. But I think that they did a pretty good job of, like, updating it to the year 2000, which is when it came out, right? Like,
a bad year.
It's yeah, but it's, like, relevant to, like, what's happening. And it's not just, like, a weird, like, they didn't connect it to, like, Dia de los Muertos or, like, Halloween or anything. They were like, no, this is just, like, a thing that happened. I do have some issues with it, obviously, and we'll get into it.
Is it that everybody acting in it is terrible?
No, I mean, I feel like you expect this level of acting from the 2000s, so...
I could not stand any scene with the Crow in it. Old Alex Crow.
I didn't have a problem with him, to be honest with
bad. you. I don't know, like, okay, so I don't know if it's necessarily his acting or it's the fucking way he looks in it.
It's both.
He does have crazy eyes a little bit.
It's just like his fucking makeup is terrible. Like it just like looks like they were like, it'd be real edgy if like instead of makeup it's like cut into his face. And like I don't.
They're burn marks, okay? They're not cuts.
Well, they did a real bad job of portraying that because it just looks like someone cut around his eyes.
I do like how sometimes they'll do like a close up of him and you can like very obviously tell that it's makeup. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I fucking ate it up. I gobbledygooked this movie up, okay?
Yeah.
Except, what?
I've got a great idea on how we can save this franchise.
Okay.
All right, so the next one, The Crow, they bring back a frat boy who drank too much beer at a party. And his weapon of choice is a grenade launcher, but he puts, like, full beer cans in it to, like, shoot people with. And we call it The Bro instead of The Crow.
This is my pitch. Jack Black as the Crow.
I think...
I'm also amenable to that.
Like, we need a Crow who's, like, 50 years old, kind of creaky in his body.
We need a Crow for the people.
Extremely out of shape. And can sing the soundtrack.
I want to see Jack Black diving off of a building.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying.
Tight leather pants.
It'd be incredible.
No, okay, I don't want to see that, but...
We gotta get past, like, it's some 20-something-year-old, like...
emo boy.
Yeah, we gotta get, like...
Been done.
Well...
Hear me out. Joe Biden as the... No.
Okay,
Clint Eastwood as the Crow.
Yeah, we need, like, real old man Crow.
Yeah.
Lance Hendrickson.
Diane Feinstein as the Crow.
Okay. Jean-Claude Van Damme now.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
The problem is, like, because, like, kind of how we talked about with Jason Momoa and, like, the joke sort of joke pitch as Dave Bautista is like, it's got to be somebody that's believable that they got like beat up and thrown out a window or whatever.
Right.
So like Jean-Claude Van Damme, I don't buy. Jack Black, I get.
Well, but we're moving on with the series. No one's getting beat up and thrown out a window anymore. We're on to electric chairs. So.
What? I got an idea. This one, I mean, it writes itself. We get Russell Crowe as the Crow.
Just change his first name to like Ross. Ross
Crowe.
Ross Crowe.
My pitch: cast Jackass, let them make the Crow. All the stunts are real.
Steve-O. Steve-O's the Crow.
Crow.
It's just
Steve Crow.
But it's the entire thing is Johnny Knoxville and like the old man makeup as the Crow.
Irving Zisman.
Yeah,
is the Crow.
I think we're on to something. Miramax, hit us up.
Wow.
Just old man Crow. That's what we're getting at. Anybody that's an old man.
Yeah.
How old is Edward Furlong in Wicked City or whatever it's called?
Oh, I mean, he's probably like.
He
20s,
definitely would have been the
30s.
oldest Crow, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. How old was like Vincent? Was it
Jimmy
Vincent
Cuervo is his name in this movie. Jimmy Cuervo. Who? Someone's name is El Nino. Oh, it's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. Oh,
See,
yeah.
we're back to the good name. Someone's name is Pestilent. Oh, it's okay. Well, all right. Well, we're not talking about that yet, so don't get excited.
Can we though?
No.
I honestly think that movie's gonna be better than this one.
I think that Wicked Prayer might be the only one I haven't seen. I don't know that I've seen it at all. So
you've deprived yourself of the best one.
Maybe we'll see. Ooh, Passion, Revenge, Eternity is the.
Yeah, so
I don't like that his name is Jimmy.
I think Vincent
Jimmy Cuervo. It's a
I
great
hate that.
name.
Vincent
No, I don't
Perez probably was the oldest person playing the Crow.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about him
Because he's
I
like
completely forgot
he's
too
almost a
existed.
decade older than Edward Furlong.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense because he's. I mean, obviously you can have a child at whatever, but he's like painted
like
as
a
like
dad
the
in it or
father
whatever.
figure. Yeah. Which makes it even weirder to me that he had like a thing with Sarah. I don't know.
That
okay.
one I don't know. I can't get into that fucking relationship again.
I don't. No.
Because it made no sense.
We've moved on. Okay, so let's just start digging into this perfect movie time capsule.
It's a
So
time capsule. I don't know if it's a good one.
it's perfect,
It's
5 stars.
extremely 2000.
which is amazing.
I mean, better time than now, but
Fair.
still
Yeah.
not a good time.
Okay, so this movie starts with credits. Just,
Whoa.
You know.
The worst
Yeah.
thing to happen to a movie, as we know.
Well, but at
It's
least. But
It's really been anti opening credits the past several weeks.
Yeah, and I would say at least there's something to look at, but I don't want to look at it because it's just somebody doing taxidermy on a crow, which I don't care for.
Which
That would seem pretty cool.
Like, I mean, I get that it's like supposed to be like Fred. Like, did they ever
Wow,
fucking
spoilers.
explain the shit in his arm?
No.
Like, I don't
they
understand
don't.
why he is just like putting steel
That's-
posts
that's-
into his skin, and it makes no sense to me.
That's like one of
Look
the
cool.
yeah.
Does it?
That's like one of my qualms with the movie is that they don't really understand like what the fuck's going on with him at all. But okay. Taxidermy. And also the crow is bleeding a lot for some reason. I don't like that. So it cuts to a bunch of people protesting, and there's a news broadcast talking about how a woman named Lauren was murdered. We're introduced to her sister, who is Kirsten Dunst for some reason. Her name's Erin. And their dad. They're arriving at the jail because they're going to watch Alex, who was Lauren's boyfriend, be executed. I will say, I don't think that an 18-year-old would literally be given the death penalty and executed for murdering one person.
He was 21.
So he was 21 when they executed him. He was 18 when the murder happened. And I don't know what state they live in, but that's not a thing.
Texas.
And that's my assumption because they use the electric chair.
It looked very hot.
Yeah. And but so yeah, so already not really something I feel would happen, but it's fine. Then yeah, so there's a newscast about it. People are protesting that it's not right. Okay. One of the cops that's like ahead of the jail brings Alex a birthday cake because today is his 21st birthday, ironically, the day he's being murdered. And his friend / lawyer, ?
Yeah,
I don't even know his name, actually. All of these white guys look the same to me.
Law Lawyerington.
I just literally called him lawyer, so that's fine. His lawyer is like really offended that they've brought him a cake, and the guard is like, make a wish, and then he blows out the candles. He should have wished to not be executed, but he didn't, so.
Should have did like the guy I saw a story about that for his last meal requested like this big ass last meal and to watch the entire extended version of the Lord of the Rings trilogy to put it off as long as possible.
Why not? I think a big old sheet birthday cake from the grocery store is like one of the worst last meals you could have, but
It says happy execution on it.
Literally. Okay, so we find out that there's cuts of him walking to the execution chamber. Also, maybe there's like some trigger warnings for this movie, so just be warned. I warned you, even though I didn't tell you what they were. He's walking to be executed, and they're like interviewing people in the crowd. One of the guys is like, I fucking saw him arguing with his girlfriend. He definitely did it. And I'm like, all right. Then there's basically, we find out that the thing that happened was that Lauren, his girlfriend, was murdered. She was stabbed 53 times. Holy shit.
Seems
Calm
like
down.
a lot.
I don't.
But also, it was cops, so unsurprising.
Right. Spoilers. It was cops.
Always cops.
Pretty much always.
I'm also convinced that every person in the other movies were also cops.
Secretly,
Yeah.
like undercover, yeah. As per The Crow, Alex is having memories of his girlfriend Lauren, and he's like sad about it, right? And the lawyer asks if he's okay, and I was like, he's about to be literally executed for a crime he didn't commit, so I don't really know if asking him if he's okay is like the move here, but I guess what do you say in that
How are you
situation,
holding
right?
up?
Right, like, I don't know.
I'd be like, alright, I'll see you later. And then left.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're real friends. He's sad, right? Because he knows that Alex was innocent, and he wasn't able to find the person who was responsible, right? And he's sad about it, and he's just like, there's like this weird thing where he's like, okay, well, you're gonna go be with Lauren now because, like, he's getting killed, and he was like, tell her we're gonna get him, and he's like, not we, because in case you forgot, I'm literally being murdered. And I just thought that exchange was so fucking weird. And he's like, when you see your girlfriend in the afterlife, tell her that I'm gonna find the killer. And I was like, this is so weird. Alex says, so this whole time, like, Alex says there was a guy with scars. A guy with scars did it. They're not actually scars, we find out. They're just, like, fucking screws in this guy's arm that are, like, 2 screws together, so they make, like, kind of like an arrow, and there's, like, I don't know, 6 of them or 8 of them or whatever in his forearm. And Alex kept being like, it was this guy with scars that did it, and nobody...
Number one, no fucking, like, police chief has this shit going on in their body.
Number none of them are that cool.
I don't understand the point of it because it leads nowhere, like we said earlier. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no explanation as to why he's doing it. It doesn't tie into him being, like, weird and into, like, taxidermy and shit at all. Like, I don't get it. Other than they're like, you know what's kids in the 2000s like? Body modification.
Yeah. They just wanted to show that he was into body mods,
and
bro.
Cool cops.
Yeah.
It's called character building.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I think that they were maybe trying to go for, like, he's secretly sadistic or something, because he has that, like, assistant who is, like, really into...
she seems like she's a normal person.
Yeah, when they think... Spoilers. When they think that Alex is dead because they stabbed him a bunch, she's, like, really into his dead body with stab wounds or whatever. And so I think that they were just trying to be like, wow, this guy's got a secret life. This is so dynamic, when it's like, not that putting, I don't know, whatever. Live your life, you know? As long as you're not murdering people and covering it up. You put screws in your arm if you want to, I guess. Anyways, yeah, so Alex is just, like, really adamant that it was this guy with scars on his arm, but nobody could find him. And then the cops come to get Alex. The lawyer hugs him goodbye. And Alex tells him not to watch the execution. They hook him up to the electric chair, and they ask if he has any last words, and he says, I loved Lauren, I still do, I'm innocent. Then they put like a mask thing on him, like a death mask, I guess, and they flip the switch.
Okay. So I need the director or writer, someone involved with this movie, to come on the podcast, official invite, and explain to me how this mask made these fucking marks on his face.
So, it's because, first of all, I don't know. I don't know how some of your face... Okay, so...
It was a laser mask.
Yeah, it engraved. It was like an engraver.
Yeah.
So, there's like a storm outside as they're electrocuting him, and the building gets struck by lightning. So I think that they're trying to insinuate that, like, the lightning from outside amplified whatever was happening to him.
Sure, fine. But I don't understand why, like, it's just these specific crow marks and not, like... I mean, like, okay, so I know we haven't got to it yet, but when he comes back and, like, he just essentially rips off an entire melted face... Mm-hmm. That reveals these scars, but I understand that it's not supposed to be realistic, but, like, it makes zero sense. Like, they should have just fucking abandoned that idea and just made it like makeup again. Because it just, I don't know, it bothered me, like, immediately.
Okay, so as he's being electrocuted, somebody rolls up their sleeve to reveal the crazy scars, and Alex is like, murderer!
Somehow nobody sees it,
but he's also dead, so he can't really do anything about it. And also, it's all sizzly in there.
Feel like you would not be able to yell out
something?
Anything while you're being electrocuted and lightning strike at the same time.
Yeah, probably not. I would think not, but and then it's all crispy and sizzly sounding. The cops take the body to the morgue and talk about how the mask fucked his face up. There's like a taxidermied crow in the morgue for some reason. I don't know why. And then Alex immediately comes back to life and busts out of the cooler. And a real crow flies in, and Alex sees himself in the mirror, and his face is all gross and crispy, like the outside of a marshmallow.
It seemed less crispy and more goopy, and like, because it just like falls off in chunks. That it felt very gross to me.
Yeah, you don't want to be like ripping off crispy chunks of your face skin.
Would have been cooler if his face looked like this the whole time. He just had to draw like crow lines on his face, but it's all like melted and gross.
It would have definitely been scarier when he appeared to kill people if his face was all crispy. And it's not just like the crow makeup either. It's like the entirety around his eyes are like, and because they didn't just do black and white face paint like they did in the first two, it's like still skin colored and like kind of brown.
Yeah,
but like his mouth,
red.
Yeah, it's like a weird color. Anyways, yeah, he pulls off the gross chunks of his face, and then like his skin is fine except for like his crow marks essentially. And he's like freaked out though when he punches the mirror and breaks it. Then he is like, all right, I'm leaving, I guess. And he starts to leave the jail, and the alarms go off and like alert the guards to the fact that somebody's walking around and they think it's like a jailbreak or whatever. The crow is leading Alex out. I wrote to cool music. Who the fuck knows even what was playing at this point?
Probably I think Girl.
I think it was a joke. I think it was. I think I was having a full around.
I don't know.
I hope so.
I'd
be very concerned if not.
The cops are like running around, like trying to find him or whatever. He gets up on the roof, and there is a like a barbed wire fence that he jumps, and his hands are all cut up. And I don't know why in all of these movies they can never make the hands healing look good. They looked extremely bad in this because this was like quote unquote new CG. It looked very bad, but whatever. Then he does that like Brandon Lee belly flop like off the top of the roof, and this is where he like falls down, like he like falls down through the scene, and then like a crow comes back up. So that's when I was like, he turns into a crow ? And then the crow's flying around town.
I choose to believe that he shrunk himself and landed on a crow. And he was like riding the crow like it was a dragon.
Yeah, like he's Ant-Man.
Like Ant-Man, yeah.
I'm in. I like that version better.
Paul Rudd is Crow Ant-Man.
I'm in.
Paul Rudd. Let's wait like 20 years. Give Paul Rudd like 20 years.
Paul Rudd would make sense though, because he also could like be buried for 20 years and not look like he aged.
And look
so
normal.
I would buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. So he turns into a crow. He flappity flaps over to the police station to look at the evidence, and like he's forgotten that like he has died and immediately come back, but he's like forgotten what happened to him. And so he finds the picture of like him and Lauren, and he has like memories of them together. Then he finds the murder weapon, and like he does the thing that Brandon Lee's crow does, where he can like touch stuff and like know what happened. So he touches the murder weapon, and then it's a knife, and he like remembers everything, right? And then this is one of the scenes of the movie that I think is, or one of the finer details that I think is just really nonsensical. He has a memory of what happened, which is that him and Lauren have a fight in his truck. She gets out and runs away. The man with the scars in his arms just reaches in the window and like places the knife on the seat, and Alex is like, huh? And then somebody punches him out through the other window, and I was like, huh?
This makes zero sense when you find out like what actually happened.
Yeah.
Unless he sat there and just like ruminated for like 36 hours or some shit.
Yeah, a couple days. He's just hanging out, yeah. And so that's what happened. That's how they placed the evidence on him. A knife that also I will point out he's never touched before. But he definitely did it. He murdered her, stabbed her 53 times, and then fell asleep in his car with the knife, without his fingerprints on it. Mm-hmm. Good work. He finds a essentially like a testimony list with like people who it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because it's like one guy who testified, which is Timothy, right? Thomas. His name's Thomas. And then the rest of them,
Tomothy.
Tomothy. The rest of them are all cops. So it's like the legal part of this movie now as an adult does not make sense. But when I was, 17 or however old I was, I didn't know anything. So I was like, yeah, this makes total sense. Yeah, there's definitely, like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, he's got like a whole list of dudes he's gonna talk to, right? So first of all, he gets the list, and then the cops show up and he flies away. He takes the knife too, and this is when I imagined, like, if he's truly turning into the crow to fly away, I was like, where did the knife go? And so I imagined the little crow flying
beak.
away, like holding the knife. And then it reminded me of like the crow with the Starbucks cup, and it just made me giggle. It's like a fucking huge knife too. It's like,
It is a fucking, like,
It's massive, like a
It's-
Bowie
I
knife.
was gonna say it's like
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee.
yeah, literally.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Paul Hogan is the crow.
Yes, done deal.
We need an Australian crow.
Oh my god.
With an accent.
Yeah.
A really, really thick one too. No subtitles.
Yeah,
allowed.
it has to be like one of those like Australian accents that you just cannot understand.
Yeah.
I'm in. He shows up and they're just like, huh? What?
Every,
You know how like the crow always like shows up and grills them about like whatever the thing is, and they're just like, I get what?
yeah, I'm in.
Why are you
What are
here?
you saying?
I think what they should do before they do like another official remake, like the Bill Skarsgård one, is every country should be forced to make their own version of The Crow. Same script,
Keyword-
Yes.
the Brandon Lee
keyword
script,
forced.
but like yes, everyone has to make one.
I'd watch every single one.
You know,
Hollywood
how
executives
fucking-
held at gunpoint
Give me
until
the
they're made.
Bollywood.
I was gonna
Give me
say
the Bollywood
the like
version.
3-hour Bollywood version that also somehow has like parts of like I don't know, American Psycho in it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American History X.
The same-
He's like a reformed Nazi who's the crow now.
It's the same like Robert Zombert like soundtrack though. I
Oh
love
no,
it.
yeah. See, every country has to use the same soundtrack from the first
Yeah.
Crow movie.
Yes. Yeah. Let's do it.
They're allowed to
I
have
love
their
it.
own like.
I want to
Re-
see a
like,
dance
covers
number
of
to
it,
Nine
but-
Inch Nails. Like that sounds badass.
I want
to me.
like the K-pop version where it's like K-pop cover of Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division.
it just keeps getting better and better. The more layers you add to the cover, the better.
We could do like, we could just turn this entire podcast to just every episode's The Crow.
Crow
Yeah.
ideas.
Yep. Okay.
This is why we need a one world government to make this shit happen.
Okay, so he flies away with his Bowie knife. He goes to Lauren's grave and he talks to her. He's like, "Hey, I remember what happened, and I'm gonna get justice. Don't worry." He has an insanely weird memory of them like hanging out, and Lauren is doing a bunch of made up martial arts moves, and then she says that she wants his. She wants his mad monkey love.
Yeah. It's called
Ooh.
romance.
Never. This is where Twilight got it for sure. I think
Oh yeah,
The love.
Twilight 100%.
the Crow Salvation. It's the Crow Salvation
into
fan
all
art,
of the Crow
fanfic.
movies.
Yeah. Then they kiss for a long time, and the angel that is on her gravestone cries blood. Amazing. Erin shows up to the cemetery, and she has a matching locket with Lauren. She goes to Lauren's grave, and Alex steps out from behind the grave stone. Pretty creepy. And she's like, what? Who the fuck?
I just
he's
like
just
that like no one in this movie can recognize him despite him being the youngest person in the history of the US ever executed.
Yeah.
Of a crime where he stabbed someone 53 times. Like
Yeah.
he would be plastered on every newspaper around
all
the country,
over the
and
place.
not even the people responsible for putting him, like getting him on death row, recognize him when he pops up. Let alone the sister of the woman he supposedly stabbed 53 times is just like, who are you?
Yeah, I think that they're running under the assumption of like the Clark Kent kind of thing. It's like, why would you assume somebody that you literally saw
Put
die
fucking
is
glasses
like
on
walking
him, then. I'll buy
around?
it.
All right,
Crow, but he's got
Wait.
bad vision.
but he's yeah, okay. Yeah, so he shows up and he's just like, hey, don't worry, I'm just a friend. By the way, Alex didn't do it. And she's just like, what's wrong with your face? And he's just like, I didn't do it, someone else did. And then she's like, I don't know about you. My dad's over here. Dad, help. And then the dad comes and he's like he's like gone, you know, as he does. And she also sees the blood on the statue. She's like, oh my gosh. Alex goes to see the first witness, which is Timothy. And he is just like in his apartment. He comes in there and he's just like, this is the line here. He goes, where'd you come from? And Alex says, Big Bang, primordial ooze.
It's so stupid.
Amazing. And then he's like, by the way, I'm here because you lied at my trial. You said that this knife was mine and this, that, and the other. And Timothy is just like, I don't know, a guy, like, what? I don't know, whatever. And Alex checks his arm for the scars and doesn't see any. And he's just like, where, like, what? I'm trying to find this guy. Like, who is it? And Timothy is like, there's no Scar Man. Like, every single person he asks says that Alex made up the Scar Man and he doesn't exist. And he's just like, why did you lie? Like, he's innocent, whatever. And Timothy is basically just saying, like, okay, well, the police said that if I went on the stand and testified saying that I saw you guys fight and that, or not you guys, he doesn't realize it's Alex, right? He said saying that I saw them fight and that the knife was his, they would give me a construction job. $12 an hour. All right. Say no more, my guy.
Literally have been looking for jobs like this week and came across some gym that's offering a night position for $12 an hour, and I was like, what fucking year is it?
It's the year
this
2000.
is fucking
apparently.
legal still.
Yeah.
And good to know, 2000, that apparently was like a good job.
A lot,
and
yeah.
23
$12
years later.
Yeah, $12 an hour was worth literally lying and getting somebody executed. So
I make substantially more than that and could not survive on my own in New Jersey, and this place is just like $12 an hour. You should be fine.
yeah, get over it.
Good
You're
luck
fine.
out there.
Stop eating avocado toast. You'll be alright.
Like, granted, you have to live in the gym that you're going to be working in, but
Yeah,
You have to live in the gym closet.
you can
you
can
go.
only eat protein shakes.
All right. This is where we see the Scar Man doing some stuff, and we find out that it's actually screws that he is inserting into his arm for whatever reason. Who knows?
Just screwing around.
Okay. Like, all they had to do was say that, like, when he kills somebody, he puts another screw in his arm, or something. Like, there needs to be some reason he's doing it other than I think he is just screwing around. It's like shits and giggles.
my assumption was supposed to be that, like, it's like a Victor Zsasz sort of thing,
Right,
where, like, every time he kills someone or something, but, like, they just don't fucking explain it ever.
No. All right. Ugh, man.
This movie took place in Salt Lake City, of all places.
No, it doesn't.
It just, like,
That's
I'm literally
a fucking lie.
looking at Wikipedia. In the very first sentence, in Salt Lake City, Alex Corvus is friends with the murder of his girlfriend.
It explains a lot.
And to this day, they're still electrocuting
What if they
people in Salt Lake City.
picked one of what is supposed to be most beautiful areas in the country and just turned it into just every other fucking Crow movie. It's just
like
fog,
weird
everything's yellow and red
like,
for some
yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Also, this movie takes place also completely at night, except for the very end for some reason, which is so strange. They were like, we are running out of time. It's daylight. Oh well, deal with it. Okay. There is a car being driven by two girls that is pulled over by the police, and essentially, the cop is just really fucking gross to them, and is like under the assumption that these girls are underaged also, and is like trying to like extort them into doing some kind of stuff for him, some kind of favors, which is just so gross. So one of the girls has been drinking and is like passed out, and he is gonna go back into the car to like do something to her, but when he gets there, it's Alex, and Alex is just like, you bend over or something, and I was like, I don't know if I like that.
You watched the wrong movie on a Russian website.
I'm starting to think I did. Yeah, it was a little weird. He gets out of the car and the cop is like, what, who the fuck are you, whatever, and just like shoots him. And Alex kind of like makes like a little play of being shot. The girls are like fucking traumatized, right? Because they think they just saw somebody get murdered. But he's fine. And he tells the girls to leave and call the cops. So they speed off. Alex shows, I also don't know any of these cops' names. They're just cop. It's fine. Alex shows the cop the knife and is asking about the Scar Man. And he's like, I don't know, like the Scar Man's made up or whatever. Alex touches him and has a flash, essentially, of the police like assaulting Lauren. And basically what happened was like they're attacking her. She manages to discharge one of their guns, and which shoots one of them in the foot. And then somebody starts stabbing her. So this is when Alex realizes, like, oh, it was like all of these fucking police guys. There's 4 of you there, and you did it. And the cop is just like, maybe if she wasn't being such a bitch, it wouldn't have happened. Which, okay, you fuck off, right? And then the cop calls him Spooky, which I thought was really funny, and shoots him a bunch. Alex takes the gun and just, like, fucking shoots him through the mouth, and he's dead. We're not R.I.P. Fuck you, burn in hell.
Yeah.
Cop number 2, maybe cop number 2, I don't know. One of the cops, who is, like, one of the last cops to die, he's, like, one of the lead cop kind of guys, goes to
King Cop.
King Cop. No, that's, Fred whatever.
How dare you disrespect Fred Ward.
Fred Ward. I just forgot his name. Goes to a strip club, which has some kind of like cam work situation in the basement, where they've got cameras and people are like paying to watch it. And I feel like the stuff that's going on here, it's not like explicitly said, but like I feel like it's really not consensual, due to something that happens later. So that makes this like even worse or whatever, right? And he like goes up through like all of these like stations of people doing cam stuff, and he walks upstairs and there's a bunch of guys counting money, and he's like, freeze, and they're all like, ah, and then they're like, LOL, haha, stop, because like they're also cops and they're all in on it, right? And they think he's having a goof. But then he tells them that the first cop is dead, 53 stab wounds, and they're like, he's like, that's suspicious, right? And they're like, nah, that's probably fine. The dead cop also has the word Daisy carved into his forehead. And they're showing this on the news, which I don't think, like, he's dead, and they're showing his dead face with the word Daisy carved into his forehead. I don't really think that they would be doing that. But Aaron...
The news reporter lady, like, she just... As soon as the corpse comes out, she's like, we're going in.
Rushing over
just
there,
like,
pulling the sheet off and stuff.
Yeah.
Then she turns and she's just like, appalling.
Yeah,
that was
horrific.
Really scary. Yeah, like, oh my god. Aaron is watching the news and is like, oh my god, Lauren used to call me Daisy. It's definitely a sign. And like Alex did it, obviously, because when they met, he was like, I will prove to you that I know Lauren and that like what I'm telling you is the truth. But the dad's just like, that's just a weird coincidence. And I was like, I mean, it is weird, I'll give you that. What is this? Oh, so then they show like the murder scene and they pan up and there's like blood splatter on the roof of the car that's like in the shape of a crow. Per, crow lore, you got to leave some kind of crow symbol behind.
Yeah, people got to know.
Yeah. One of the cops goes to Alex's lawyer and is basically just mean to him and is like, hey, somebody stole this knife from evidence and is going around killing cops. Like, do you have anything to do with this? Do you know who it is? And the lawyer is like, no. And I think he shoves him a little bit or something. He's just like in general mean to him. Now there's another random cop who is waiting at a train crossing and is, just like feeling a little spooked. And Alex just comes out of nowhere and like punches him through the window and takes his gun, like gets in the car and takes his gun and just like shoots himself. And then there's like a pan out of it, like showing us that his bullet wound is like healing or whatever. And he's just like, hee hee. And the cop is like, that's probably not good for me, right? Like, seems scary. And then Alex is like, heard you were looking for this. And he like stabs the knife down through the cop's like hand and into his leg. Which seems like it'd probably hurt.
I back that move.
Yeah. And then Alex, of course, asks about the Scar Man. And he's like, there's no Scar Man. Like, whatever. And then he's just like, hey, I know that you killed this girl. Like, what the, like, what's up with that? And he says it's all about money, which also I don't really understand the connection there, but it's whatever. Then Alex just drives the car off. He gets into a police chase to Robert Zombert's Living Dead Girl as he's speeding around. I was like, perfect, amazing. What could be better than this? As he's driving around, right, the cop realizes that it's actually Alex, and he's like, well, this is really not good because this guy's supposed to be dead, right? And then, so at this point, there's like a bunch of police cars and a helicopter chasing them, and Alex just crashes like full speed into a bus, and he gets out. He's fine, obviously, right? And he takes the cigarette lighter out of the car, and as he's like, he also, at this point, takes a jacket from the backseat of the car, and I'm like not really sure what this jacket is supposed to, like, why he has it. It's like a weird, it's not even like a leather jacket. It's got like a fuzzy collar.
It's because
and
they
like,
had to do it like the other movies, but like they had to make it somewhat different, I guess.
Like, because they didn't really, we're like halfway through the movie and he's just been wearing like a jail jumpsuit and like that was fine. I don't know why he needs to wear a jacket for like 20 minutes of the movie. Whatever. Fine. It's fine. And he slow-mo walks away as he throws the lighter and it lands in some gas from the car and then it explodes like 10 fucking other cars and a helicopter. It kills a bunch of cops though, so...
Yeah. This movie does have like, I think almost 30 people killed in it. Because
there you go.
He's just killing cops left and right, which rocks.
He's got like the list of like 4 or 5 specific cops that were like, guilty for killing Lauren and also framing him. But like any old cop that shows up to do cop work or whatever, he's just like, whatever, he just kills them too. So they're all cops. Okay, so when he leaves, he drops his like list of all of the like he's been like crossing out people's names as he's been killing them, and he like leaves the paper or whatever. This is where like cop 4 and 5 see it and are like, oh no, like our names are on this list.
This list that's very badly crossed out so you can still read everyone's name.
He uses like a orange crayon or something. I was like, what? Okay, so this is when he flies to Erin's house and she comes outside and she's basically just like, how did you know about the Daisy thing? And he's like, I told you, I know Lauren, I know whatever. And then, okay, remember earlier how I said that the Twilight, there's like Twilight references here? Okay, Erin says Like they have like the very same scene where it's like, I know what you are. She's like, I know who you are, and I was like, oh, a vampire. But he's just the crow. And so basically, Alex is just like, yeah, it's me. I've just been going around killing some cops, and it's the dirty cops were the ones who killed Lauren, not me. And here you go, your dad was involved. He shows her this like receipt for a company who has been supplying the cops with like fancy cars and shit or whatever, but the address listed under the company name is her address. Obviously, it's like her dad's house. So he's like, these cops are dirty, your dad's involved, like, here you go, I don't really know, here's this paper. He just like throws it at her and walks away, right? Like literally throws it at her. The cops are being scared because they have the list. On the back of the list, there's a crow in blood on it, of course. And then one of the cops goes to talk to the police chief, who is basically just like, essentially, Alex lets Thomas live because, you know, he was bribed. Also, he's not a cop, so he just like lets him go or whatever. But Thomas has like told them about like what happened, and he's just like, you know what, you need to like fix the situation before I have to get involved or whatever. Erin, meanwhile, is looking through her dad's desk to, I don't know what she's trying to find, but the dad comes in and is just like, what are you doing? And she basically says like, I know that the cops killed Lauren, and she thinks that he's like in on it, and she's like, hey, you suck, and she like runs out, right? One of the cops goes to interrogate Timothy about like what happened with Alex, and throws him out a window, and then shoots his girlfriend or whoever. There's a baby there.
Yeah, it's fine.
I assume he adopted the baby to raise as his own.
Real quick interjection, timeout. Nathan, cut this. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My internet just fucking died, so I was trying to get reconnected.
I'm leaving that
Wow,
all
you
in.
missed the best part.
Yeah, you missed the part about
I-
we talked about Joe Biden on the bank bus
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
God damn it. I just came back. I came back to Timothy and the baby.
Oh man, yeah, you missed all the Crow Biden stuff again.
Fuck. It's the worst day of my life.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, they threw that guy out the window and they killed that girl. And who knows what happened with the baby.
Also thrown out the
Alex, yeah, also threw the baby out the window.
Collateral damage.
Oops. Alex goes to talk to his lawyer, and I love how just like very open the lawyer is about Alex showing up. He's just like, oh yeah, definitely. What's up, guy? I missed you, you know? And he says, again, he's just like, I've been killing cops. You've been admiring my work on TV. It's me. By the way, like, Erin and Lauren's dad is involved somehow with this company. Would like, can you investigate it? And he's just like, yeah, definitely I will. Just like very nonchalant. Erin goes to where Lauren died for some reason, and Alex is there, and they talk about what happened, and she basically is just like, I wish I was dead, and he is really offended by that, and like touches her and like makes her see everything that happened to Lauren, and is like actually really mean about it. And I was like,
I feel like that would
Oh.
not make it better.
no,
Right?
and I was like, oh, like I keep the point he was trying to make is that like life is worth living, and she's ungrateful for saying that she wishes she was dead because Lauren literally like fought tooth and nail to stay alive, and like it's not fair. But I was like, I feel like it was a weird scene. It was like a little I feel like she's gonna be scarred for life
Yeah.
after like literally having seen her sister be murdered, right?
Yeah.
Probably not though. She's probably fine.
Yeah.
She's young. Yeah, you know, she's probably fine.
She'll tough it out.
Yeah. So this is when the cops go to the jail to check on Alex's body and discover that it's not there. And I was like, I don't really know how long this has been, maybe a couple days, but he's just been chilling, and they're like, what are they doing with him?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I remember this, and like I also had that thought, like, how many days has this been? And then I was like, well, it's also like a prison. I doubt they're in like a fucking rush.
Yeah, they don't care.
Also, like the
'Cause
guy,
then-
like the guy, like when they first wheel his body in there after he's electrocuted, and they're like, why are they even doing an autopsy? They know what killed him.
Yeah, yeah. But then, like, they just don't, yeah, I don't know. Because then
They-
he's all...
They
Go ahead.
should be in a rush because prisons don't have air conditioning, so that shit's
Well-
gonna stink
Well, that
real
was the thing,
fast.
is I also don't think they do those in the fucking jail. I think those bodies still get like shipped to like a morgue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, he was definitely in a cooler, because, you know, they had, like, dry smoke in there or whatever. But when the guard is, like, originally going to open the door, he was like, be careful. I don't know, stuff happens to bodies when they're dead, or well, I don't know what he says, but he's basically, like, kind of warning them that he's probably, like,
That body's
Gross.
definitely gonna come back and kill a bunch of people. Be careful.
right, and so then when they opened the door, I was just like, I don't know. I can't get it. I will not get into it about the prison system, but this whole scene to me just was like really, really out there. And so, okay, and to like push this even further. So in the last two Crow movies, we had one person who was either like, you know, in the very first one, it was, shoot, what the fuck was that guy's name? Top Dollar's girlfriend's sister was kind of like a little witchy or whatever. So she knew about the Crow. Then in the second one we had, I don't remember her name, but she was like a clairvoyant, right? And she could see the future. She knew about the power of the Crow. In this movie, it's literally the police chief is like, oh yeah, I heard about that happening. I know about sometimes guys come back from the dead. And I was like, how? Why would you know that? Like, what? Who? I have so many questions about, like...
There should be like some tie-in to like one of the other movies where like somebody like that witnessed it or something. Like bring the
Right,
lady
because-
with her eyes sewn shut back.
Yeah, because he's literally just like, sometimes if people want to come back bad enough, they can. I've heard about this. And I was like, no, you have not. It's not real. What are you talking about? I don't know.
Maybe
That
it
just
is
like
real.
really
Maybe
fucking...
we just don't know it.
It, I don't, well...
There's
and
no
it-
crowing happening around here.
Yeah. I just was like really baffled by their decision to make it like, and so that's why I feel like, I don't know if maybe they cut it out or if they just like didn't explore it enough. I feel in hindsight that they were leaning towards him being into like the occult and like BDSM, their version of it, and just like, you know, stuff like that as an explanation for like why. I don't know, but I just was like, this is the weirdest fucking like little, and it's just like one line of him being like, oh yeah, I know sometimes people can come back from the dead, and then somehow he knows that if they give him the man with the scar, then Alex will lose his power. And I was like, because he's like fulfilled his duty, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Okay. So
mm,
fine. They jumped to that conclusion, right? Like I'm on board.
yeah.
I don't understand how in the world of this like supernatural shit where they like fake him out with the arm, how is it like they're like, oh, well, it's done. Like, shouldn't whatever fucking possessing him to come back know it's not the real person?
Yeah,
Like,
I would think
that
so.
didn't make any sense to me, where it's just like, oh, well, here's just an arm with some scars on it, so you're done.
Well, also because like if we're going with like the lore of the Crow or whatever in these movies, again, I have not read the comics, so I don't really know if it's like any more well defined. But like the lore is that they come back for revenge and a specific purpose, right? And then after that, they go back to wherever. And so like the Crow itself is tying them to the world and giving them their powers. So they're like, it makes sense to me for them to be like, if you kill the Crow, it severs the link, they lose their powers or whatever. Like, I'm fine with that, but I don't understand how in this one it's like him just thinking he got revenge makes him lose his powers, and he's like invulnerable, but he's not dying, going back to his grave or whatever. Like, that's like one of the big plot points that's missing for me. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Seems like they didn't do a very good job writing this.
Listen, aside from that tiny hiccup, it's perfect. So, okay. So oh my god. Alex is like having a conversation with Aaron and says that the reason they were fighting is because he knew that Lauren had a secret and she wouldn't tell him what it was. And so like this all ties into like the cops being dirty and their dad having something to do with it. And Aaron is basically just like, oh my god, like I can't believe our dad had something to do with this. She calls him Big Deal Daddy, which I really fucking hated. Big Deal Daddy.
It's a good nickname.
She's basically just like, no, it's terrible. It's the worst.
Changing my
Maybe
Twitter
we should
handle to...
Yeah. Wait, what was it recently? It made me laugh really
It's
hard.
Crow Biden Bang Bus.
Crow Biden Bang. Big Deal Daddy is pretty good too. That's what we should be calling the president.
Yeah. I would vote for him if he came out and was just like, look, I'm Big Deal Daddy.
It's me, Crow Biden, Big Deal Daddy.
Whichever candidate
Let's
comes out and
go.
says that, you got my vote.
It's definitely Bernie. He has Big Deal Daddy energy. All right, I need to make a Big Deal Daddy energy t-shirt. Let me write it down. So she is basically just like, oh, I was always like thought he was like the greatest or whatever. But it turns out he was just like a crook and he was like helping the police be dirty or whatever. But then he says like, then she says that he said he would never hurt either of them and like it wasn't intentional. And she believes him. So she's going to go home and talk to him, I guess. And she's like, don't you worry. I'm going to tell people that you were innocent. And I was like, yeah, okay, great. He's dead.
Yeah, that's
so
helpful.
what the fuck does it matter? Yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, the police chief, or King Cop, if you will, goes to talk to her Big Deal Daddy and is like, Big Deal Daddy is like, I am done with this shit. Like, I don't want to be friends. I don't want your number. Like, stop talking to me. You guys killed my daughter. I'm not okay with it. And the King Cop is basically just like, it was an accident. And Big Deal Daddy is like, are you, like, what do you mean? You stabbed her 53 times. How was that an accident? Idiot. And he basically, whoop, zip, she slipped 53 times. I don't know what to tell you.
A lot of banana peels.
Yeah. He's basically, he's kind of like threatening him or whatever, and he's basically just like, I don't really want to have anything to do with you. Like, they don't actually really go into, again, at all, what, like, I guess that maybe the dad is being like extorted to buy the police things with like his company or whatever, but they don't really go into like exactly, maybe like the company that he owns is a shell for like the cam work at the strip club or something. I don't feel like they explained that very well, but anyway.
There's not really a lot of explaining about anything happening in this movie.
No. King Cop is essentially just like, I know that Aaron knows that you and we are involved, and so what are we going to do about that? Then it just cuts to Aaron coming home, and she's like, Dad, what's up? What do you want? And she washes her face in the sink, and then she hears a bunch of dripping, and when she goes to investigate, she finds her dad has been shot in the head and is dead. And it's like obviously been made to look like he died by suicide. And she is startled, but then she immediately takes the gun with her.
Smart.
Fair. Alex goes back to talk to the lawyer about the company that the dad owns. Yeah, okay, I wrote the company owns the strip club and confirms that the cops run it. So, I don't know. I don't really know. But then Aaron shows up and is like, Alex, they killed my dad. He's dead. And Alex is just like, what's the address to the strip club? I got dollar bills to spend.
Yeah, he had some money left on his prison card. He's going to use the strip club.
Except the prison club cards.
Yeah.
So he goes to the club and fights his way in, essentially, because people are just like, can I see your ID? Just fucking stupid. He fights his way in or whatever. Then the police chief shows up at the lawyer's office and tells Aaron that, tries to walk in and, he doesn't know that Aaron has already been home, right? So he comes in, he's just like, oh my God, Aaron, I don't know, like, what happened. Like, your dad was, like, in with these dirty cops and he like, he's killed himself and, like, here's all the evidence that he was, like, tied to all these dirty cops or whatever. Like, here you go. And then Aaron is just like, first of all, you're a fucking idiot because I already know everything that's going on. She pulls the gun and is like, you did this, you killed my dad, you killed Lauren, like, you killed everybody, and, like, all of this is your fault or whatever. And the lawyer is, like, stoked on the evidence, so he, like, picks up the, file and is like, hell yeah. But then the police chief shoots and kills the lawyer, which I thought was so sad.
Yeah, so you know he's a bad guy.
Yeah. This is when Alex, he's at the club. He's, like, touching railings and stuff and getting flashes of Lauren being there. And, like, they don't explain why she's, like, in the basement of this club at all. But she witnesses all of the dirty cops killing somebody. And that's why they, in turn, kill her. Which, to me, doesn't make sense. But it's fine.
I mean, I get what they're going for. They just don't, like, again, it's just another thing they just don't explain well.
But, like, looping in the dad with all of it makes no sense.
Like, my real question is more like, how was she able to get upstairs?
That's what, and also, why was she there? She had to go, like, through the club, through the cam room, up into this, like, loft where they're counting money, and it's like, why was she there? Who knows? I don't know. Whatever. She sees the cops killing somebody, and that's what happened, right? So there's a bunch of cops there. Okay, I wrote this really weird. Alex is, like, having the memories of that, right? And when he walks up into the room, he sees that there's a bunch of cops there, and they shoot at him a bunch, and he disappears, and they're like, what? And he's, like, up in the rafters, and for some reason he says, cheers, and he throws a pipe that impales Jonathan Goblins, or whatever his name is, and he's dead. And then the cops, again, just keep shooting at him, even though, like, nothing's going on. Like, it's not working, but they don't care. And then he, like, shoots and punches a bunch of the cops and kills them. One of the cops goes to hide, but Alex sees him, like, in the camera, because it's, like, in the cam room, area. And he beats him up. And as he's beating him up, he's, like... They have all of these, like, gas lines, and again, this is the basement, right? But they have all these, like, gas pipes just, like, hanging down in the room. So, like, as he's beating up this cop, he's, like, knocking the gas pipes, like, out, which seems not up to code, but who am I to know? I'm not a construction worker.
It's a little dangerous.
Yeah. And so one of the other cops comes up and, like, sees Alex, like, fighting that other cop and decides that he's going to take matters into his own hands. So he takes a shotgun and starts shooting at them. But because of the gas is leaking everywhere, the place just, like, fucking explodes. And after the explosion, Alex finds, suspiciously, just a severed arm with the scars in it.
Yeah.
And when he sees it...
by the fire. Seems convenient.
Fine. And also cleanly cut from the shoulder. Just an arm.
Mhm.
But he sees it, and he is basically just like, oh my God, I got him. It's over. And he just gets all goofy and weird. And he's like walking down the street, like, like, I don't know, being fucking weird. And he thinks that this girl on the street is Lauren. He's like trying to talk to her. And then the girl's boyfriend comes up and is like, don't talk to my girlfriend, and punches him. And this is when Alex realizes that he's bleeding. And he's like, I can't bleed. And the people are just like, okay, and like run away.
So
I mean,
weird.
yeah. So he then goes to the lawyer's office to try and find the lawyer and Aaron, but nobody's there except before his lawyer friend. So the entire movie, I like left this out because it wasn't really important until now. Alex and his lawyers like whole things that they would play chess together, right? And they had this one conversation where Alex is like, I'm killing all these cops, but the thing that I want is the king cop, right? So he shows up, and the lawyer before he died put a king chess piece on a newspaper on a picture of the police chief. So he is king cop.
I'm sorry, but like, you're gonna tell me that after they shot this lawyer, that like the cops didn't like do any, like literally just like tippy-toed out of the room to not touch anything, and like left the room exactly how it was, so he was able to place this chess piece and on a stack of papers and have it like not fall off.
Yeah.
Like they just like Aaron just lets herself get like grabbed without a fight, and
Yeah.
it's bullshit.
Exactly.
It's
That's
like
what
truth
normally
in this
happens,
art.
okay? Then I felt like maybe he was getting powerful again, but I guess not, because he goes to the police chief and he's like still bleeding because he like busted in a window at the lawyers, and he like has to pull a big chunk of glass out of his hand, and he's like literally dripping blood. He goes to the police chief and he's just like, where's Aaron? And the police chief is like giving him a speech. He likes to do that. And it's essentially like, you're a piece of shit. Nobody cares about you anyway. Like, who cares about you? Blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes. And meanwhile, he's like stabbing Alex with the knife.
Yeah, he doesn't really put up much of a fight.
No, because, yeah. And so, like, regardless, they tried to make it a point to be like, so Alex lost his powers because he thought that he already killed the Scar guy, and what's happening now is that he feels like he needs to go and save Aaron, but Aaron is not part of his, like, deal with why he came back from the Crow. He's not, I don't know, as the Crow or whatever the fuck.
This Crow is doing a bad job.
And so, like, somebody says something like, you know, it wasn't part of your contract, so you were like fucking stupid for coming after her or whatever. So he is like dying, and so it's like pretty easy for King Cop to like get the upper hand and like just stab him a bunch of times with a knife, whatever. And he's also just like, hey, do you remember when you killed Lauren? Like, you definitely did it, remember? And they've like somehow doctored a photo over the photo of like him and Lauren standing in front of like they hang out in a junkyard for some fucking reason. And like it's like him, but he's holding
Lauren's
Salt
Lake City, Katie.
Right, all of Salt Lake City is a junkyard. He's like holding Lauren's like dead body, and he's like, remember when this happened? And he like falsely remembers himself saying like, I did it. Yeah, like, I did it. I loved her. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt her or whatever. And then he dies. And then they take his body into the King Cop's like back room taxidermy, like hidden thing or whatever, where Aaron is there, who she is tied up and her mouth has been sewn shut. Seems bad. I don't care for that. And then a crow comes, like the crow, the bird, and is like, hey, I'm here.
Hey, I'm doing a bad job of helping you get revenge.
Yeah. Comes and takes, so they had this like whole thing earlier where Aaron was gonna like throw away her matching locket, and Alex was like, don't don't, this is your link to her, and this is your link to me, or whatever. And so the crow takes Aaron's locket and just drops it on the table in front of Alex, and it brings him back to life. And
after he gets his dead body fondled by that secretary.
Yeah, gross. Yeah. And so he's alive again with his crazy eyes. He's like, whoa, beep boop. He wakes up, and like the police chief is about to stab him again or something. I don't know. And he just like stops him, and then the police chief is like, oh shit, and grabs Aaron and like runs away. The last remaining cop and police chief's like weird assistant girl like fight Alex, and the cop ends up like shooting the crow, and you like think the crow is hurt, but the crow is just Josh, and he's totally fine. And I was like, what? seemed unnecessary, but whatever.
Crow just got up and said psych and flew out.
He's like, see you, beach. And this is when Alex sees the lawyer like strung up in the air with his arm missing. So they basically just like, implanted the screws like in his arm to make Alex think that he got his guy. And then he impales the assistant lady on some antlers. There's like this
Before
whole
Ash
thing
vs.
with...
Evil Dead did it.
Well,
Although Ash vs. Evil Dead did it way better.
what? Oh, also, wasn't it in like Silent Night, Deadly Night or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, seems bad. Seems like a bad way to go, if you ask me. Aaron, there's like this whole thing where Aaron has stolen a scalpel, and she like stabs the police chief and like runs away and hides or whatever. He's like looking for her around all these cop cars. She ends up getting his gun somehow and like shoots his ear off. And then he's like, haha, there was only one bullet, idiot. And then they like wrestle around or whatever. And then the cops like run, like other cops, just like cannon fodder cops, like run in and are gonna like shoot Alex. One of them goes, the devil himself. And I was like, all right. The police chief somehow like gets Aaron and puts her in a car, and they speed off. Okay, this scene I had to watch twice because what was even going on? Alex like fly floats onto the car. He like jumps off the building like in the shape of a cross and just like floats onto the top of the car, and they like edited it so weird. It was quite a spectacle. And the police chief is like, oh my god, this sucks, what the hell? And they're like speeding through whatever. Alex ends up getting his arm and seeing that he's actually the guy with the scars. And I don't obviously didn't care about what happened here because I wrote Alex gets his arm and sees scars. They bring him to the electric chair, just like hard cut. They have brought him to the electric chair chamber apparently.
No problem getting into this prison.
No, it's fine.
Wasting no time.
Not only like Alex can come and go as he pleases, right? He can turn into a crow, but they somehow get him, the police chief, and a girl, like some random girl, into this like electrocution chamber or whatever. And Alex kind of like explains to the police chief how an electric chair works.
Yeah.
And he also says, they say it doesn't hurt, but it hurts a lot. And I'm like, well, he knows.
I mean,
from experience.
I liked that like aspect of him being like, actually, they say this, but this is what it's really like. Like, that's fine. I have more.
Well,
I want to see.
yeah.
I want to see the 20 minutes of them sneaking him into the prison.
Yeah, right? Like, what? I'm assuming Alex just, like, fought his way in, but, like, whatever. Says it hurts a lot, and they're like, any last words? And the police chief calls them little fucks, and is basically just, like, shit-talking them. They're like, just like how he does. He's like, you're not smarter than me, I'm the smartest person here, and you're fucking stupid, and no one's gonna believe you, blah, 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 or whatever. And then Aaron goes, you are so dead.
Oh, got him.
and flips the switch, and they watch him catch on fire for some reason. And then
I mean, I feel like
blood
if you're getting
pours.
electrocuted long enough, you probably would catch on fire.
I guess, but I feel like it happens immediately.
Nah, it takes a minute because they gotta show fucking his arm bleeding out.
Yeah, blood is pouring out of his screw holes. I have to feel like getting electrocuted with like metal inserted into your body is probably not
I
great.
fell down like a rabbit hole while we were talking about. I was trying to figure out if anyone could explain like the screws in the arms. And there was an
Right.
argument between like two people on IMDb's like comments trying
One of them is me.
to like argue about it, and the one guy's like, no, you don't understand, like the screws are just in like the fake arm to make it look like the scars. And the guy's like,
Huh?
no, during the credits they show him inserting it to his
They
own
show
arm,
him
and he's like,
doing
bro,
it.
that's
Yeah.
just body modification. And I was like, all right, neither you know what you're talking about.
I need to get in there.
Like literally
Throw
at
my
the
hat
end it
into them.
shows his arm like with screws in it.
Yeah, what? But there is a part in the movie where they literally show him inserting them into his
Also-
own arm. I thought.
not fucking Wikipedia or IMDb, I forget which one. The plot just keeps describing it as zigzag design, and I'm like, this isn't zigzags.
No, yeah, no. I was confused about that too because it's definitely not. It literally just looks like
It's like arrows pointing down, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah. Like not connected arrows. They're like, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so he's dead. And Alex is now it's the daytime. This is like the only scene that's like in the day. So they're standing outside of the jail and Alex is just like, "We'll always be with you," and then he disappears. And then it cuts to Erin at the cemetery and she's punk now. She's got like a fishnet shirt with holes in it because this experience has just really changed her life, and so she's not goody
I
anymore.
hope
You
Tara
know,
Reid is playing her character in the next movie.
that would be great. And she visits their graves and talks about does like the voiceover thing that like Sarah does, which I don't really understand because she's not a main character, so she does not deserve a voiceover. But anyway, she's just like, I know that they're always watching me, and I'm gonna live my life to the fullest for them. And then she has a memory of Alex and Lauren making out, and then it's the end.
Gross.
I'm gonna say I still liked it.
It's so bad.
No one's hurting
Awful.
my feelings
So,
here.
do you want to hear about the better version of this movie?
Yeah.
Alright, so in August of 97, it was announced that Rob Zombie was going to be directing it. It would have been The Crow 2037 that we talked about.
Right.
Hired solely based on his apparently directing the video for I'm Your Boogeyman that was in The Crow City of
Right.
Angels. Had the film been made, Zombie planned to shift focus and tone from the revenge angle of the previous two entries to a more horror-based approach. The film would have began in 2010 when a young boy and his mother are murdered on Halloween night by a
In the
satanic
way
priest.
future 2010.
97.
Yeah.
A year later, the boy is resurrected as the Crow. Okay, fine. Next sentence. 27 years later, and and unaware of his past, he has become a bounty hunter on a collision course with his now all-powerful killer. What does that
Huh?
mean? So he's resurrected a year later, and then the movie takes place 27 years later.
Yeah, and then he just is a bounty hunter for 27
I
years?
guess.
That's fucking weird.
I need it. Let Rob Zombie make that movie now. What's 37
really
years from now?
confused.
2050?
Oh my god.
Yeah, The Crow 2050. Let's go. No,
Well-
2060? I don't know.
I don't know math.
I
Sorry.
forgot math after I got out of high school.
Yeah.
Bad movie.
Good movie.
Very bad
Really-
movie.
Really good movie.
What did you rate The First Crow? Was it lower than this?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I think I gave it 3.5.
You gave this 3.
So, I liked it. I didn't find anything wrong with it.
Brutal.
I think, I don't know. I think, I definitely, so far, the second one has been my least favorite. I don't know why. I just like didn't like it at all, really. I think I gave that one like a 1.5
I
or
I at
something.
least like give it credit this one for like changing it up, like
Yeah.
story wise, but it's just that like it's just a bad movie. One of those bad like you find it for $1 at fucking the dollar store on DVD, made for DVD movies or whatever, straight to
I'm
DVD.
trying to remember, like, I definitely had it on VHS, so I definitely bought it on VHS, but like, I don't remember any of the circumstances around why, like, that was the one I had.
I'm just going to assume you probably saw the first one and saw like whatever sequel and were like, hell yeah, I'm 8.
I have no idea because, like, to be fair, like, I probably didn't even see that one when it came out because, like I said, I was in like eighth grade. The original one, I was like 7. So, like, I have like no memory of when The Crow became something that I knew what it was. And so, like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You know what? I probably saw The Crow Salvation at the rental store and was like, sounds good. I love crows. Crows are sick. And then I was like, I probably,
I
I
like
don't
I
know,
like the idea
whatever.
of you renting it, thinking it's like a documentary about crows.
Yeah.
I
Crows
was just
finding Jesus.
yeah. Fair.
Any news?
What a we
Oh.
Oh, I do have a few. I was gonna say what a weird like twist and turn these movies have taken though, to
I
be fair.
can't wait to watch the next one because I know
I'm
it's either
so
going to
excited.
be a fucking step up or just somehow even fucking further into the gutter.
Even like there's just no way it's not gonna at least be entertaining because Edward Furlong is in it. Like if he wasn't in it, I feel like I wouldn't be excited. I just like I have no connection to the guy who was in the second one, and like even though it was like sort of canon a little bit, like I don't know, that one was the low point for me. So I just am excited at this point. But I'm also glad there aren't really that many other ones, to be fair.
Yeah, there's a
So
TV show, but I don't know if I can watch 22 episodes, despite
yeah,
Oh my god.
Iron Chef Mark Dacascos is the crow in it. I might slowly
I
watch it,
would.
but I definitely am not watching
Yeah,
the whole thing for an episode.
no, and that's why I was like, at first I thought maybe we'll just do a bonus episode later or something because I was like, how are we gonna do that? Like, we can't do it like episode by episode because that would take too long. But also, you can't. I don't know. So, let's see.
Glenn
News.
Danzig's Death Rider in the House of Vampires is going to Cannes for some reason 2 years later.
High esteemed cinema.
Which just
I
means
still haven't seen
hopefully
it, so
we get to fucking watch it soon. Yeah, he hasn't. It did that like weird 2-day theatrical run that Shane went and saw and drove
almost
home in a
died
fucking
seeing.
hurricane.
Yeah.
And then like it has been MIA since. So hopefully
I really want to see it.
I do too. I'm dying. I want it to see it so bad.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll be on its way. Um, I didn't see a ton of news again because a lot of it's about like the writer's strike. Um, but I did see that there's going to be 2 new Stephen King adaptations. The first one is an adaptation of the story The Monkey from the Skeleton Crew collection. That collection is really good because it has The Mist and The Raft in it. It's from '85, so it's like old school. James Wan is directing that one though, so we'll see about that. The one that I'm really excited about is that they're doing an adaptation of Life of Chuck, which was a story from If It Bleeds, which was like one of the collections that came out a couple of years ago. But Mike Flanagan's doing that, and Tom Hiddleston and Mark Hamill are going to star in it. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I think we talked about this before, but I didn't really see any details about that Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
I knew they were like
whatever.
doing another Hellboy. I
Yeah.
didn't know what it was called though.
So something. So, anyways, they just kind of like gave more info about that. And they are describing it as a R-rated folk horror, so I'm like super into it. It takes place like in the 1950s and like Appalachia, and there's like witches involved, and I'm like, okay, fuck yeah. I don't Hellboy's being recast again, and I'm like not super familiar with the person who's playing him.
I just
So
again, like, this is another thing. It drives me crazy. It's like kind of like with Ridley Scott's like Prometheus Alien Covenant thing, where I'm like,
mhm.
let Del Toro do like the last fucking Hellboy movie he wanted to make with Ron Perlman. Finish out his fucking trilogy.
Yeah,
Let
I
Ridley
agree.
Scott finish out his fucking story instead of just abandoning it and just being like, yeah, Fede Alvarez is making an Alien thing now. Plus, there's a TV show, maybe. Here's 4 other
Yeah.
Alien things. Just let, like, Ridley Scott do one more to finish out whatever his fucking plan was, because he's 110 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the premise of this Hellboy is like very much up my alley though, so I'm interested, but
I
like
still haven't watched the David Harbour one because I assume
no, I
it's
haven't
terrible.
either.
But those Del Toro
Yeah.
ones are bangers. It's
Yeah.
such a good fucking premise for like movies too. Like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like it seems so hard to fuck up a Hellboy movie, but they're gonna keep doing it.
I mean,
There's a movie coming out sometime this year called The Flood that is
oh,
about a jailbreak happening during a dangerous storm, but hungry alligators show up to stop
yeah.
it.
I did see that
And
actually.
I gotta assume it's some fucking Sci-Fi Channel or Asylum shit, but I want to see it. It looks it's got Casper Van Dien, so
Oh God.
you know it's good.
I saw that the director of Deep Blue Sea is making another shark movie
Yeah,
called
Rennie Harlan.
Deep Water.
I'm
So
in.
yeah, definitely.
I like it was like director of Deep Blue Sea and Deep Impact, I think was the other one, something like that. That everyone was just like, so this movie's gonna have deep in the title too.
Yep. He likes it deep, you know.
Was that it?
Yeah.
All right. What did everybody watch this week? Kit, what'd you watch?
I went and saw Renfield, and that was it.
Oh yeah, what'd you
Did you
think?
like it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, not amazing, but Nick Cage was fucking rad, and it was way more like gory splatter comedy than I was expecting.
Like way more than I
It's-
was expecting.
Yeah.
Both of those.
It was good. I liked
Both
it.
of those are on that like Fandango at home thing on Vudu that I'm just like waiting for the price to drop because I'm not renting a movie for $20 when I could have seen it
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
cheaper
oh,
in the
no.
theater.
Yeah, what the
So like
hell?
whenever it's
You
at
know?
like a decent price, like I'm gonna rent both of the like that and Evil Dead Rise to finally watch,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely not doing $20. Katie, what about you?
Aside from all my ongoing shows, the only new thing I watched was the new DC animated movie Legion of Superheroes, and it's about Supergirl. Like, but the story is basically like she can't adjust to life on Earth, so she gets sent to like the Legionnaire Academy essentially, and the artwork was like very weird for me to get used to, but overall I really liked the story, so I recommend it. It's like one of those ones where they have a bunch of group of heroes that you don't really hear about that much, except Arms Fall Off Boy.
Oh,
He's a boy.
very,
Boy, isn't it?
Very cool character.
Very, yeah, very on the outside of it, but there's like a Triplicate Girl and like a couple other ones that like aren't really in stuff a lot, which you know I love. So overall it's overall I really liked it.
I
I think the
watched
reception wasn't great,
It's like
but
I'm like 10 of those movies behind or some shit I really need to like catch up on.
I think that I'm pretty caught up on it. Batman is in this very, very, very a small amount, but Jensen Ackles does Batman in this one, and I was like, I'm like really.
I think he's been
they
their
get
go-to since like outside of like Kevin Conroy's Batman.
yeah. I love him. So
Was that it?
I think so. Uh, yeah, I think so.
All right. I completely caught up on all of the On Cinema at the Cinema stuff, including their banger movie Deck of Cards, which was Greg Turkington deciding that a deck of cards is in the public domain, so he's making a movie about it, about the
Fair.
characters from Cards that then gets Tim Heidecker takes over and just makes it a Decker movie. It's incredible. It's so good. I watched An Evening with Tim Heidecker, his stand-up special, and it's very good. It's like half like I think actual Tim Heidecker, and the other half like sort of the On Cinema version where he's like doing he's starts doing all of these jokes about like being against like left wing shit, and it's pretty funny. Like he goes into these jokes about like going to a place and getting a vegan burger, but he keeps fucking up the punchline. And like he starts the special by like with like 4 minutes straight of like can't get his microphone set up and knocks it over and accidentally kicks it into the audience. It's pretty funny. I watched the 2021 remake of Cube.
Oh,
The sort of reverse where like I think it was Japanese remake of I forget what.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's fine. I can't say it's not like good, but it's also like not unwatchable. It's just kind of felt unnecessary to me. I haven't watched the like the original Cube movies in a long time, and I remember liking them a lot. But
Still rip. I watched them like 2 weeks ago.
yeah, this just felt like it didn't necessarily like add anything to it, so it just kind of felt like
yeah.
why bother?
Like, sure.
I watched the all three One Missed Call movies and then the remake. And
Oh, I want to do that. I haven't seen them all.
first one's pretty good, the Takashi Miike one, and then it's just very diminishing returns going to past that. And then I started digging into the Bollywood horror box set Mondo Macabre put out, and so far the first two movies I watched, Varana and Purana Mandir, are pretty sick. One was like a witch movie, and one was, as far as I could tell, sort of like a Yeti Bigfoot thing. All of the movies in the box set, 2.5 hours long because they're Bollywood movies, which is too long for these movies, but like these ones are like pretty legit, sort of like Mahakal production wise, like a lot of pretty elaborate set pieces, and like the special effects are pretty great. I'm pretty interested to dive into the rest of that box set. And I think that's it. Just a bunch of short, like, Neil Hamburger stand-up sets in there somewhere. And I've been watching Tom Goes to the Mayor on Adult Swim, which I had not seen since it originally aired, and it's very good. Alright, shout-outs. Kit, you want to shout out?
I'm gonna go with Krallis, because Krallis released a new album that's like 80% synth stuff, and they have one bit on a song that sounds a whole hell of a lot like the Christine theme.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I saw people talking about that, but that's also one of those bands that I feel like I guess I don't pay enough attention, but I feel like constantly is like new Krallis album, and I'm like, again? Didn't that just happen?
Oh yeah, there's one like every 6 months. Like,
Good for them.
and they're all good. So it's like I don't understand how they do that.
Yeah, I liked their first couple albums. I fell off keeping up with them.
I think you'd like this one because it's a lot of synth stuff, and it's all very John Carpenter sounding
Yeah, I mean,
synth
I
too.
like their black metal stuff a lot too. I just, for whatever reason, I just like stopped paying attention, and then just like I was like, oh, there's like 12 albums
It,
now.
I would say it kind of happens
Yeah.
whenever a band releases so many albums. It's like, okay, well, that's a lot to
Yeah.
keep up with.
What about you, Katie?
My shout out is everyone is playing Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda. However, I am playing the remake of Link's Awakening that came out a couple of years ago, and it is fun.
I want that new Zelda so bad, but I don't have anything to play it on.
I
You didn't like Breath of the Wild, so
absolutely hated Breath of the Wild, and I will not. I also don't have any money because I have to get 12 root canals. Not really. I don't really need 12, but I got a lot of
13.
stuff going on.
Same. It's not good. Teeth are stupid.
Yeah.
But seeing everybody post about, like, I think I've talked about this before whenever Breath of the Wild came out. I love that people love these games. They are not made for me, and I get that. I'm not mad about it. I will just wait until they go back to making real Zelda games, and then I will support them again. But seeing everybody post about it, I was like, man, I really, really want to play something, and I don't know. I bought the remake. So essentially, I'm not going to get into a long thing about it, but, well, maybe. Link's Awakening was like a Game Boy game, and originally it came out as black and white, and then they remade it for Game Boy Color, and then they remade it, and it's like a 2.5D, because it's like they've made the game itself is still the same, so it's like almost top down, and it's like, like a Zelda game, but it's the graphics are 3D, but like the game isn't 3D, and that doesn't make sense, then sorry, but that's what it is. And so it's like, I don't know, playing it again for the first time with like those kind of graphics to me is really fun, because I do like Link's Awakening, and I played it like back in the day, so it just like adds something extra. And I wouldn't say that it's a very hard game either if you know how to play Zelda games. So it's just fun. I just like it.
I've been watching videos of people. I think it's either Breath of the Wild or the new one. I think it's Breath of the Wild, where like they're just finding like the cheats to like do stuff, and they're so insane. Like, some of them has been kind of like interesting, watching people like discover this just like absurd ways to like bypass the actual storyline. Like, I think somebody like beat Tears of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom, is that what it is?
I think that's the new
like
new one.
in something like the first 8 hours they had it.
Yeah.
By like just like finding shit to like, it's like the, I don't know, just however, like it's I don't know, interesting.
Yeah, some people have done runs of Breath of the Wild in like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like they fly directly to Ganon and beat him, and I'm like, all right.
When I was playing it, I was trying to do everything in the game, and like I accidentally like walked into like the room where you fight Ganon, and I was like, oh fuck, I guess this is what I'm doing now.
Oh well, it's over for me.
Yeah,
now.
I was like literally just like exploring, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, alright, well, I guess I gotta fight this dude now.
I love it.
The fuck have I been listening to? I'm gonna say Productive Disruption by the band Def Club. My shout out. It's what Justin Pearson from the Locusts do bands. It's very good. I'm seeing them Monday, opening for Greg Puciato. Also, Tim Heidecker released an album called Cane'thology that is a bunch of fucking campaign jingles he wrote for Herman Cain back in 2012. Yeah, and they're very stupid. It's very funny, and I guess he sent them to him, and Herman Cain was like, "No."
Thank you, but no thank you.
Can you ride the Cain train? Come on, you can't get better than that.
I mean, What more could you want in a campaign, to be honest?
uh,
Somebody should send Joe Biden our
yeah, for real.
ideas.
He should fucking
Pay
just
us.
ride around in the bang bus, campaigning. Give it.
Can banging.
Joe Biden has to fuck one voter in every city he goes to on the bang
Oof,
bus.
no, thank you. Not
What a
Wow.
campaign that would be.
While wearing crow makeup.
Absolutely.
Alright, unsurprising, next week, The Crow Wicked Prayer.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm hesitantly excited, because I know it's going to be fucking terrible, but I'm also like, how
It's the end of the line, at least.
How worse can it
Yeah,
get?
fair. Yeah.
Alright, if you'd like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IamSelfPodcast. We just released our bonus episode on garden tools used as weapons.
Yeah.
The Burning, Dead Alive, and Garden Tool Massacre. So if you want to hear us talk about 2 good movies and 1 really bad one, go join the Patreon. I feel like that's a pretty good breakdown of most of our bonus episodes.
Yeah.
It's like 2 movies that are pretty good, and then this one piece of shit that Nathan picked. You can buy merch at our store Frontier Shop. You can follow us on Instagram at Episode Podcast. Oh yeah, leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. Tell us who you think would be the best Crow in the remake, outside of Joe Biden,
Yeah.
because we already have that answer.
Yeah.
Has to be old.
Yes. Who would be the best old Crow? Specifically over the age of 65. They have to be past retirement age.
Who would be the best retired
Yeah.
crow?
De Niro Crow.
Ooh,
Al Pacino Crow.
There you go.
My caveat is they can't be an actor.
Oh.
Just a random old person from your
It
everyday
has
life.
to be like... I guess they could be an actor. They could be an actor, but they can't... they have to be an actor that would actually do it. Not Robert De Niro. Unless, I guess, Scorsese's gonna fucking direct the next Crow movie. Martin Scorsese's
Okay,
Old Crow.
Have you seen
an
De Niro's
attainable
films lately?
actor.
He'll just do whatever.
I
Nicolas
guess,
Cage.
to be fair, Al Pacino did that fucking Jack and Jill. Is that the one he was in, the Adam Sandler
Yeah.
movie?
Oh
Where
my
he's like,
Yeah,
God.
both of them are just kind of doing whatever.
hey, I mean, if you got Adam Sandler money, you could throw...
I
you could
want.
probably get almost anybody.
Do you think Willem Dafoe would do it?
Willem Dafoe would be a very good old bad guy in a Crow movie.
Willem
want-
Dafoe.
There, right? Exactly. It writes itself. Let's do it.
I'm in. I'll watch that.
He'll be on the Big Deal Daddy Energy T-shirt. Willem Dafoe Crow. Willem Dafoe.
You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitchery and Kitchification of Blood. Follow Katie at Werewolfface. Join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. Help Katie pay for her new Jaws teeth. You can listen to the podcast NK Movie Club. I'm going to say don't watch The Crow Wicked Prayer, because it's probably pretty bad.
Oh, we'll
Not
see.
rocks.
I mean, I've seen some images where I'm just like, okay, I'm intrigued, but
To be fair,
I can't imagine it's like actually made well.
Yeah.
None
The
of them
only
are.
thing that I've seen is the like box poster that they have on Letterboxd, which does not look great.
I mean,
So
I
I
at
don't.
least approve of them making Edward Furlong essentially look like Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be at least more goth than.
I'm also excited that there's like weird names in it. Also, Macy Gray is in it for some reason.
Yeah,
Like,
great.
Oh,
we'll,
yeah.
we'll just find
Get some
out.
real
Yeah.
fucking MAGA hours in this movie.
Wait, is she a MAGA?
Oh yeah. She wore like
I
a
didn't
Make
know that.
America Great Again dress to the Grammys or some shit.
Ew.
Yeah.
I'm not
Not
excited
great.
anymore, Macy. Danny Trejo, though.
Danny Trejo can show up in anything. He's probably gonna fucking rock.
Yeah, let's do
God, these
it.
fucking pictures. on Google.
Somebody's
It's
name
fucking
is
terrible.
Proudfoot Joe. Okay? It'll be fine.
Tara Reid, 100% wearing a bump it in this movie.
Oh my god. You go, girl. Bump it.
Oh yeah, this is the David Boreanaz one.
Bump
David
it to the
Boreanaz in a
heavens.
fucking fuck, I can't find the word, just escaped me for the name of this shirt. Fishnet shirt.
I'm so excited. Remember last time when you said Angel from Bones instead of Angel from Angel?
Yeah, he's Angel from Bones. His name was Angel on that too, I'm pretty sure.
Bonegel.
Ew, I hate that so much. I really wish that was canon, that like he as Angel moved on to then be on Bones.
Dude, look, I didn't watch the last 3 seasons of Bones. I don't know what they revealed.
I've never seen Bones at all, so in my mind he might as well
Honestly,
be. Wait, who was he in the Justice League? I'm looking.
Like a live action or animated?
Oh, he was Green Lantern and animated.
Oh, I was like, I don't remember
Hal
him
Jordan.
being in.
He was in a movie called Dolphin Boy. Okay,
No,
I'm
thank
excited.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, Wicked Prayer next week. It's
let's
gonna
do
be
it.
a movie for sure.
It's gonna be great, I think.
All right, I hope you crow Biden, but why? Vote for me, Caw.
Vote for me.
Vote for me, Jack. Caw. Gotta get that Jack in there for the real Biden impression to work. Or I guess threaten somebody. Then you're gonna beat somebody up with some chains, like Corn
Yep.
Pop. Remember Corn Pop?
Corn Pop. That was simpler
Back in
times.
the good times. Sort of.
You a bike, bubble gum and take your mouth and nose off. If you're dead, to take your clothes off. I roll long distance for you. You test my knuckle game, see if I was true. Never like by those spouses, cause I crept loose from jousts. I keep telling them, don't give a fuck about none of them. Why'd you pass out over me? You have no power over me. I got on your nerves, so I twitch. My friends call me bitch, but that's okay, cause